U.S.-China trade talks will be the main event of the week, along with China's July Purchasing Managers Index. Other key data reports are expected from South Korea, Japan, and Taiwan. The Bank of Japan is seeing leaving rates unchanged. Take a look at our next report for more.
Whether the US-China tariff ceasefire can be extended becomes crucial this week. Tariffs were drastically cut in a 90-day ceasefire agreement that was effective in May. This is set to expire on August 12th. One big question for markets is whether the tariff ceasefire is extended. While an agreement is expected, markets will watch closely to see if there are adjustments to current tariff rates in either direction. In terms of data, the official July PMI will be in focus, set for release on Thursday. The manufacturing PMI is expected to remain in contraction at 49.6. Markets will be keen to see if there's a rebound following the de-escalation in trade war tensions or if the downward pressure remains. Separately, markets widely expect no policy action at the Bank of Japan's 30-31 July meeting. Yet investors will closely monitor the BOJ's quarterly macro outlook. Given the US-Japan trade deal struck last week, a big uncertainty factor has been removed. This could offer some relief for the BOJ. The recent trade deal should still be negative for the Japanese economy. Also, possible upward revisions of inflation forecasts should offer markets hints about the near-term rate outlook. While Tokyo inflation is cooling, it still remains elevated enough to keep the BOJ normalization on track. It's a close call, but markets continue to believe October is a likely time for the rate hike. This assumes that services and manufactured food prices will rise and manufacturing and exports will recover modestly over the coming months. Separately, Taiwan's second quarter GDP release will be in focus this week. Given the continued outperformance of monthly data and inflation pressures, cooling faster than expected, GDP growth is predicted to accelerate. Investors in Asia will have plenty of economic data to pass this week to understand the trajectory for the second half of this year. Business Bureau, WION World is one.
There are signs of a possible reset in U.S.-China relations, with Donald Trump at the center of it. A South China Morning Post report says Trump is keen to visit Beijing, but a September trip is off the table. Instead, both sides are now eyeing October or November around the APEC summit in South Korea as a potential window for talks. Options on the table include a bilateral meeting in Beijing or a sideline summit with Xi Jinping during APEC. The momentum comes after a surprisingly positive meeting in Kuala Lumpur between China's Wang Yi and U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Rubio's presence, however, remains sensitive. He was sanctioned by Beijing in 2020 over human rights disputes. But analysts say China may be willing to set that aside if Rubio plays a constructive role. And according to the report, the sanctions could be treated as a technical issue and not a barrier to talks. Trump is expected in Asia this fall for the Quad Summit in India and APEC in South Korea, opening the door for a possible China stop. Now, if that happens, it can signal a critical turning point to the world's most watched bilateral relationship.